Looking for a really cool visualizer? Well, this one's actually really simple to do and really effective, so let's crack on. Okay, so for today's tutorial, we're using Blender 3.5.1. Anything Blender 3 onwards should work just fine. You are going to need that for the geometry nodes, but don't worry, it's nothing too complex. It's actually quite straightforward, so don't worry about having the absolute latest version of Blender. As always, if you're struggling to see the text, it's because YouTube doesn't like your device very much, but don't worry, it's easy to fix. Just go into your settings below and just change the quality to our highest possible setting, which I think is 1080p. Any questions at all, just drop a comment below and I'll try and help as best I can. So let's dive into this. We select our default cube, we go to geometry nodes, we press new, zoom in there, and we click the group input, hit delete there, and we're going to replace it with a curved circle, which we shall plug into geometry. Let's move that to looking down on Z so you can see what's going on. The first thing we want to do is set spline type, and what this is, no it's not, we don't want to do that one, we want a set spline cyclic, and we'll put it into there. You can see there straight away it split the circle. So what we want to do now is do a trim circle. We'll plug that into here. And now if we start playing with these numbers down here, you can see how the start and the end point start to vary. So for this example, this visualizer, we want the start to operate between 0 and 0.5 and the end to be between 0.5 and 1. And if it goes over, you can see there what happens if it goes the other way. We completely lose the circle. So we don't want to do that. Now then, so what we want to do next is we want to make this circle a bit thicker, so we're going to do a circle, I think it's mesh to circle, mesh to curve. No, it's not, it's the other way around. I always get those two confused. So it's curve to mesh. There we go. You can always tell straight away because we're after this socket here. Now we want to put a curved circle in there and just plug that into that socket. Immediately looks crazy. That's because radius is set to 1 and that radius is set to 1, so it's immediately mad. So we want that one to be a bit smaller. 0.025 works just fine. And finally on this set we want to put a set material. We'll plug that into there, ready for the next phase. So what we want to do now is we want to put some instances on these points over here. So let's move you over to this side. Let's plug you a bit closer up to here. And I want an instance on points. I'm going to plug that into here. Points. There's instances over here. In fact, we want a join geometry. Let's plug you over here. I was kind of hoping it would just socket into there, but it hasn't. Let's plug you into here as well. In fact, whilst we're here, Control D, or Shift D even, Shift D, set material in there. And now what we want to do is put an icosphere into the instance down here. You can see there it's gone crazy straight away. Again, that's because it's set to 1. Let's make that 0.05. Let's just see how that looks. Might make that a little bit bigger. 0.075. Oops, 0.075 even. There we go. Let's up those values a little bit. Set shade smooth, plug you into there so that's nice and smooth, but you can see it's populated the whole thing. We don't really want it to do that, we just want the endpoint. So to do that we need to plug something into selection. That shall be endpoint selection, and we'll plug that into there. And if you're so well inclined you could up that number. You can see there that adding more that way and that way just adds things, but we don't want to do that for this particular tutorial. Now then, so that's not looking too bad so far. Now what we want to do is we want the whole thing to rotate. So to do that, I want a transform geometry. I'm going to plug you into here. And now what I'll do is change that. So you can see there if I go Z and change, it just rotates the whole thing. Because I don't want to be doing lots and lots of time and insert keyframes. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to say a value. We'll plug that into there. Actually, what I need to do is a combine XYZ, and Let's plug it into here because I only want it to rotate in Z direction. So I don't want it going all directions. Let's just do it just that one direction. And then say hashtag frame. Now if I switch this over, it will let me do it eventually. And I hit the go button. You can see there that's going a bit quick. So I want to play around with that, tune it a little bit. Now you can add an equation in there, but I kind of like doing it on the fly. So let's downgrade that. 0.1, 0.2 looks a bit quick, 0.15, that's not too bad. Let's just make that a bit sharper. Let's 60 that. There you go. So that's smooth that out a bit. And you can see that's rotating quite nicely. So that's a rotating ring. But now what I want to do is add a bit of music to this. So I'm going to move these up here. And I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go value. Plug this down here. And I want that one. Let's just go to start to begin with. Now if I vary that, you can see there that that's doing a lot of stuff. So I want to add some music to this. So make sure this is set to 0. Your point, this component, this object is selected. Select value. And then insert keyframe. Now what I want to do is go to graph editor. Dial this along a little bit, and in key you want to Baker's F curves. Now on my computer I put this track Dark Side. It's pretty cool. It's actually subdivided into each part, so we've got drums, vocals, bass, all sorts. So this one has already been done, and let's just go to drums. Drum sounds pretty good. You can see there that the drums goes in this region. It's near enough from 0 to 1. So I just want to modify that, and I'll do that via envelope, add a control point. Let's just move this around a little bit and change a couple of things. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to react to the music. So just make sure that's all within 0 and 1, and that'll behave. Okay. Go to timeline, hit the go button. If I actually disconnect this one for a moment, you can see how that's behaving. It's bouncing quite a lot. So let's do some stuff to it. Let's put the vector back into rotation there. Now, what we want to do is we want a math node. I'm going to plug this math node into here, and I'm going to multiply that by 0.5. So this will only, the top end will only go from 0 to 0.5. So if I let that go, oh, I need to set it to multiply. You can see how the rotating ring, this is bouncing backwards and forwards. That's looking pretty good. Now I want the other side to do the exact opposite. So I'm going to duplicate that, and I'm going to say multiply into this socket -1. Now if I just let that go, it's not looking too bad, but I kind of want to offset it a little bit. Another math node. Let's put that into there. This one, and into, I can't see it now, into here. Add 1. And let's just disconnect this one for the time being, so it's a bit easier to see. Hit the go button, and that is responding to the drums section alone. So that is working just nicely, and of course having that rotation as well, I think just adds something to it. I think you can probably change that slightly. You can play tunes, literally play tunes on this. You can even have that set to, okay, if we set that to 0, that should cull the entire rotation. So 0.1. And that looks pretty good, I think. So let's add very quickly a pair of shaders. So let's call it emission. Let's pause this because I think it's slowing down my computer a little bit. Let's just make it an emission for now. Make it nice and blue. That's this bit here, emission. Let's crank that up to 100. Move you over here, that's there. In fact, let's go to our settings, bloom. There we go. And now we also want a second one, so we're going to do a spheres. If I can spell. And let's just make that. Maybe that's steel. Steel. And this. Crank up the metallic. Turn down the shade there. And let's put a bit of. There we go. Bit of occlusion. That all works a bit better when that's all set up properly. So that is your absolute basic ring. Now, of course, let's not end it there. Let's Shift D, duplicate. Let's plug. So you can see there we've actually got two geometry nodes. You don't need to plug join geometry and join geometry, but it's a lot easier just to do it that way. And what we'll do is we will change the radius to say 0.5. So that's the second one. And you can change that rotation. In fact, let's do it minus 0.1. Let that go. Obviously, the bait sound has not worked out there. It's not copied across. So let's just quickly sort that out. Set it back to 0. And then what we want to do is change that value. We want to insert keyframe. Same trick again. Graph editor, key. Make sure that's selected. And then that will, let's see, point. There we go. You've got to make sure a lot of things are switched on for this to work. Bake curves. And let's see, metrodome. Yeah, let's do it that way. And it's just really the same trick again. Just make sure that the. Just move this across. A lot easier to see if you do it that way. Here we are in Graph Editor. There we go. Because I've not selected that. And then envelope again. Zoom in. Add control points. Bring that down a little bit. Down. Up. Up. Just make sure it's kind of operating within that realm. Spend a bit more time setting it up. Hit the timeline, hit the go button. That's looking pretty good. Actually, we need to do a star frame there. In fact, let's be clever. Let's just move this up to here. Plug that into there. You can see there, one side's going one way, the other side's going the other. And just keep copying that. Now, just to end this off, let's put a very quick object in the middle. Very simple, icosphere. Plug this down here. Let's move you up to there. Let's make the radius small. About there. Whoops. 0.0, 0.5 even. In fact, make it a bit smaller than that. 0.4. 0.3. There we go. And yeah, let's put a set material. Plug that into there. In fact, let's do a couple of things to this. So we've got a minute or two. Transform. Bring you down to here. We want to go combine X, Y, Z. Plug it into there, that into there, get rid of that, and value. I could just connect up the other value, but to be honest, we're going to be dragging lots of curves, lots of connections all over it, so I don't really want to be doing that. Let's do that. In fact, let's do a couple of things. There we go. That looks pretty cool, doesn't it? And then finally, let's make you the same as that one. Go to layout, look down on it. So that is the absolute fundamentals. So let's do a few things with this. Let's add a couple of more of them, and yeah, that'll look pretty good. So taking our basic setup now, the rings, and just applying our own kind of backgrounds and just really playing around with some of the, just to create a more interesting environment. This is kind of what I came up with for our visualizer. So this bottom bit here is just a very simple plane with some instances on points and a very clever little shader. And you can see here we've got a camera action as well. So that camera is actually on a circle, and the circle itself is actually moving backwards and forwards using a sine wave in the graph editor, which is pretty good. Not sure why that keeps dropping off. It is there. I think if I hit the pause button on the video, there you go, it catches up. It's probably more of an issue with my computer more than anything. But the last thing really to mention about the setup is if you look at this bottom screen here, you can see that I've got the whole thing to kind of pulse backwards and forwards. And what I did there was in the, if I just click this and go to our geometry nodes, which is around here somewhere, geometry node editor. So you can see I've spent a little bit of time just going crazy with it. This is the kind of thing I do. I go a bit mad with setting up our geometry nodes. So what I did here was this value is attached to the drums section of this music, and it's pumped through a multiplier coordinate XYZ through the Z-axis, which is the this direction on our object, and pop it into translation there. So each ring has this nice big pulse going on. So when you view it in the image here, let's pause it up because I really don't like the way that keeps stopping there. Let's timeline it, pause, let it catch up. So as we do our kind of really cool fly through using our video here, you can actually see the pulse, and I think it just gives it that extra little effect. So that pretty much concludes our video. Obviously, if you want to recreate this one in its entirety, then yeah, just drop me a note and I'll talk you through exactly how this was created, how the story background was created, a bit missed in there as well. So a couple of clever little things going on with the shaders and the environments, but ultimately this is all kind of this is covered in the main tutorial itself. So if you enjoyed this video, then please do give it a like and subscribe, and if you really enjoyed it and you actually build your own, then please do drop me a link. I'd love to see what you've actually built, and maybe I need a new graphics card. That's what's going on. But I do like this fly-through effect here. That's pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it. As I say, if you're not subscribed, please do. If you like the video, please like it. And yeah, hit the notifications button if you want to be notified anytime I upload anything new. We've got a couple of projects in the works. We've got a tireless project which is coming out hopefully fairly soon. It's a fairly big one. So yeah, keep your eye out for that. Until next time, yeah. Take care, everyone.